Let's take a look at combat in the new 7th edition Quick Start rules. So I'm going to start with the bare bones of combat and then add extra layers in towards the end. A fight is divided up into small segments of time called combat rounds. In each combat round, each combatant gets to initiate one action. When a fight kicks off, the first thing the keeper should do is note down everybody's dexterity and put them in order from the highest to the lowest. The highest acts first. When it comes to your turn in the dexterity order in the round, there are two skills that you can use to make an attack. The first is fighting, the second is firearms. Brawling covers all the unarmed attacks, such as punching and kicking, and it also includes simple knives and clubs. All those weapons that are listed in the Quick Start rules, that's all you need is your brawling skill. Once the attacker has chosen their target and said how they're attacking them with their fighting skill, the target then gets to choose how to defend themselves. They're either going to dodge the attack, doing everything they can to avoid taking damage, or they're going to fight back, maybe blocking or parrying and trying to get in a blow of their own. Both sides then make a skill roll. The attacker makes a fighting brawl skill roll, and the defender either makes a dodge skill roll, or if they're fighting back, they use their fighting brawl skill. Both sides compare their dice roll with their skill. Now there's 4 levels of success that they can achieve. The first is a failure. If they roll above their skill number, they've failed. If they roll equal to their skill or below, that's a success. If they roll equal to or below half their skill, that's a hard success. If they roll equal to or below 1/5 of their skill, that's an extreme success. The one with the best level of success is the winner. If they both get the same level of success, the target wins if they were dodging, the target loses if they're fighting back. If the attacker won, they now roll for damage against the target. If the target was fighting back and they won, they now roll for damage on the person that was attacking them. If the target was dodging and they won with the dodge, then no damage is inflicted on anybody. There are no pushed rolls in combat because the idea is of pushing a roll is to have a second go. Your second go is simply your next attack. Alternatively, if you're shooting at somebody, you'd simply roll your firearms skill. There are 2 specialisms of the firearms skill, one for long-barreled weapons such as rifles and shotguns, and another for handguns. If you're successful, then you roll for damage. When rolling for damage, if you made a fighting attack using a fist, a kick, a knife, a club, you roll for weapon damage, and you also roll your damage bonus. If you made a firearms attack, you simply roll for weapon damage. Damage is deducted from the target's hit points. But for now, let's get into a few of those other combat extras. First off, let's go back to dexterity and the order of attack. If you've got a readied firearm, a gun drawn and pointed, then you get plus 50 to your dexterity for determining when you act. With a handgun, you can make 1 regular shot with percentile dice, or you can make 2 or 3 shots. Each shot has 1 penalty die. If the person initiating the attack wins with an extreme level of success, they have achieved a higher level of damage. How much extra damage that attack achieves depends whether you were using a blunt weapon or an impaling weapon. A blunt weapon simply does the maximum level of damage that attack could potentially achieve. An impaling weapon does the maximum that attack could have achieved plus another roll for weapon damage. If you're using a handgun and you're within a number of feet equal to 1/5 of your dexterity, then you're at point blank range and you get a bonus die on your attack. Once the target's defended themselves, either using dodge or fighting back, any additional attacks made on them in that combat round are made with 1 bonus die. If a character has armor, all damage inflicted on them is reduced by the value of their armor. So if they got 1 point of armor, all damage is reduced by 1 point. Now you can't dodge bullets, but any time in the round, if you're fired upon, you can choose to dive for cover. To dive for cover, you roll against your dodge skill. If you're successful, the person firing at you takes a penalty dice. But there's a downside to diving for cover. It means you sacrifice your next go. If you want to do something other than inflict damage on your opponent, maybe you want to disarm them or knock them over or push them down the stairs, then you're looking at using a fighting maneuver. The first thing you do with a fighting maneuver is decide the outcome you want to achieve. You then compare your build with the target's build. For each point of build by which they are bigger than you, you take a penalty die. If their build is 3 points or more larger than yours, you cannot do it, they're too big. The target declares whether they're dodging or fighting back. You then resolve the attack in the normal way using your fighting brawl skill, but instead of inflicting damage, if you win, you achieve your goal. So you either disarm them, push them down the stairs, or whatever it was you said you wanted to do. I'm going to deal with death, unconsciousness, wounds, and healing in the next show. So that's it, folks. That's combat. A whole lot of stabbing, shooting, fighting, eye gouging, punching. Wouldn't it be better if we could all just love one another and get along? But I guess Shoggoths don't understand that kind of loving. Till next time.
BlasphemousTomes.com